them are in Jannah, because there are ayat and hadith that support that. So anybody who we don't have any proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah, we don't put them inside of the Jannah. The second thing that he mentioned, and we mentioned it before, was that whoever meets Allah with a sin, and that sin would necessitate that that person should be in the hellfire. He should have made tawbah, but he didn't make tawbah. He shouldn't return to the sin. And Imam Ahmed, again, he mentioned, we wish for this individual benefit, and we wish for this individual khayr. We're going to come to the third point, and this is the new point for today. And Imam Ahmed, he mentioned, whoever meets Allah Yawmul Qiyamah, after having had the prescribed punishment meted out to him for a particular sin in this world, then that person and his sin will be an expiation for him, as it has appeared from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As we mentioned before, Ikhwani, the points that Imam Ahmed brings in this book are usually points against extreme groups from amongst the Muslims. So the new point today is the point of anybody from Al-Islam who is a Muslim. He falls into a major sin, and in that major sin, he gets the had taken out upon him. He doesn't die as a kafir. He dies as a Muslim, and that sin that was taken out on him, the had, it is an expiation for him. The reason why Imam Ahmed mentioned that is because of the presence of a hadith. Again, let me mention it again. Some of the Muslims, they go overboard and they go extreme, and they excommunicate Muslims because of sins that they did. Well, there are a group of Muslims who do sins that are from the major sins, and there is a had for that major sin in Al-Islam. And Imam Ahmed is telling the Muslims, from what is the correct way of understanding, existing, and believing is, if someone does a major sin, a sin in which an expiation, a sin in which the had is taken off on him. There are many major sins like that in Al-Islam, from the Kaba'ir. Anyone who that happens to him, he dies in Al-Islam. And the sin in that he was given the had for, it is a kafara for him in the dunya, because of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So as long as we have a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we can't have other people bringing their minds and their desires in the equation. The Mu'tazila, they made people like that outside of Islam, based upon the fact that they understood if a Muslim were to do a major sin, he is in the hellfire. He won't come out of the hellfire only, ever. That's extreme. That's not what the hadith give us. That's not what the people of the Sunnah upon. Everybody has to understand this. Any Muslim who does a major sin, and that major sin is a sin in Al-Islam, that a had, he gets flogged to death, gets his hand chopped off, a had. He does a major sin, and that had, if he gets that had is an expiation for him. It's an expiation for him, so he doesn't go outside of the religion. And Imam Ahmed mentioned that because of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is the problem with all of these groups, all of the extreme groups. You have proofs that come clearly before you, but they want to go against the proofs and they want to judge based upon their emotions and their desires. Prophet Muhammad was sitting with his companions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As a companion, Abad ibn Usamid mentioned, may Allah be pleased with him, and he told those people with him, Bay'uni, give me the bay'ah. All of you, give me the bay'ah. Give me the bay'ah ala an la tushriku billahi shay'a. Don't make shirk with Allah. Don't make shirk. Wala tusriqu. And don't steal anything. Wala taznu. And don't make any zina. Wala taftarun. And don't make anything. Baina aydikum wa arjulikum. Don't make up any lies, anything like that. Don't do anything. He said, anyone who does any of these things, if he is given a had for that, it is a kafara for him in the dunya. And anyone who Allah gives him the sitr and hides him, and the people didn't find out, so he never got the had, but he deserved the had. He deserved it, but the people didn't find out. He said, anyone who did any of these things, and he didn't get the had, he's under the mashi'a of Allah. In sha'a ghafara lahu, when sha'a, he will punish him. This is an important hadith, ikhwani. Don't go to the extreme and don't go overboard. This is a hadith that we as Muslims believe Allah's punishment is shadeed and Allah's anger is severe. And the Muslim should be afraid of being on the wrong side of Allah's anger. But at the same time, Allah is merciful. And it's not for the human beings to come and put people outside of the mercy of Allah. So today's point, listen to the point. Don't leave the masjid without understanding the point. And Imam Ahmed said, from the Asul of the Sunnah, from what the Muslim believes is, anybody who does a sin, and in that sin that he did is a had from the hudud of Allah. If Allah causes him to get the had, people found out what happened, and they chopped his hand off. They flogged him. They put him in prison. They did something to him for the crime that he committed. And Imam Ahmed said, the way we look at that is that had is a kafara for him. It's an expiation for what he did. It's an expiation. May Allah protect us from getting the had. Had is a mushkila because if a person gets a had in public, it is a sign that you did something bad. Everybody found out about it. You got the had. But the point here is, if you get the had, you don't go outside of the religion. So the Mu'tazila, these people from the Khawarij, these extreme Muslims, back then they said, if the person stole something, he should get his hand on. They said he's a kafir. If a person makes zina, they said he's a kafir. If the person murders someone, they said he's a kafir. We say no. There's a hadith from the Prophet of Al-Islam, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If a Muslim makes one of these big mistakes, he said to the people, Bay'uni. Hey, you people saying, give me the bay'ah. Give me the bay'ah. Give me the bay'ah that you don't make shirk with Allah. Give me the bay'ah that you don't steal something. If you steal, you get your hand chopped off. Give me the bay'ah that you don't make zina. You make zina, you're flogged to death or you're whipped. He said, give me the bay'ah that you people don't make up something about lying about people between, and don't give me the bay'ah. He said, if anyone does any of these things, if someone does any of these things, and the had is put on him, it is an expiation, a kafara. So if a person does get his hand chopped off, if the person does get a punishment for zina, if a person does get a punishment for whatever the had is, if he gets a punishment in this dunya, then it is an expiation for him. He said at the end of the hadith, and if Allah concealed what he did something of those things and he deserves that, but Allah concealed it. He's under the mashi'ah of Allah. If Allah wants to forgive him, he'll forgive him. And so if Allah wants to punish him, he will punish him. Which is, again, a proof he doesn't go outside of the religion of Al-Islam. That's what this point is about today. It's important that we all understand it. The point is, everybody here, without any exception, is going to make mistakes, is going to make sins, major sins. Everybody is going to make mistakes. There are those sins where there is a had. A had is where there's Islamic jurisprudence. You get your hand chopped off, get flogged to death, you become a kafir, issues like that, major. Those groups in the past, they were rough and tough in judging and looking at the Muslims. So if a person were to do something, they would say, you're outside of Islam. You're outside of Islam. And Imam Ahmed is saying, no, this is clearly not our religion. Someone who does those things is bad, is major, and we seek Allah's forgiveness from those things, and we don't make them small. But if someone falls into that stuff, he doesn't become a non-Muslim for that. So don't be of the people who pronounce takfir on other Muslims. You say he's a non-Muslim, she's a non-Muslim. Although the hadith of the ayat may say the person who does this or that is kufr. Don't put people outside of the fold of Al-Islam. So that's the point of what Imam Ahmed is mentioning today. You guys have any questions? Hey, you guys have any questions? People who do the mistakes and the crimes where there is a had, and a had means corporal punishment, where something is going to happen to you that is severe. They give you a punishment for the thing that you've done. During the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were specific things that would happen. Like you would be stoned to death, like you would be beat, you would be flogged, you would be exiled for a year for something that you did. It is a had, corporal punishment. So if you steal something, you get your hand chopped off for it. You make fitna and fasad in the earth, you get one hand chopped off on one side, the foot on the other side, if a person does that. A person commits zina and they are married or they have been married, they can be stoned to death. As time went on, the Muslims with their scholars and the people in charge of their countries said, we're not going to stone people to death. We're going to shoot them. We're going to put them in front of a firing squad. Or we're going to give them the chop his head off. Or we're going to put him in prison. This is what the leaders of the Muslims have done right now. Did the Prophet do that? No. But he exiled the person for a year and then let him come back to live with the Muslims. He didn't let him come back. So they give you a what? What? I don't know, man, which one of them is easy and not easy. I seek refuge in Allah from all that stuff, man. Get my head chopped off, put it in my head, poison, electrocuted, all of that. May Allah protect us from all of that. But Ikhwani, this is important because the fiqh of al-Islam, and this is not our community, although we have a lot of people here, the fiqh of al-Islam, when we get into how can the corporal punishment be meted out, this is when we get appreciation for the understanding and the knowledge that the scholars before us had concerning the ayat and the ahadith. Because a person could be like very white and black. Rasulullah, he did this and this all we should do and this all everything else is an innovation, and the young person comes like that. But the scholar of al-Islam, he has knowledge and he brings all those issues together. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he banned people from the city for a whole year. So that can be similar to being put in prison, for an example. For an example. And this is where we get an appreciation for that. Coming to classes and general information is given, that's better than nothing, but it's not like how we should be getting fiqh and stuff like that. Anybody got any questions? Anybody else? Yeah, there are a number of ayat and ahadith that mention whoever does something like this is kufr, or he's a kafir, or anyone who does something like that is kufr, or he's a kafir. So the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Bukhari and Muslim, he said, "Shatmu Muslim fisq wa qitalu kufr." To speak bad and to curse and to swear at a Muslim and to be upset with him is a bad character trait. And to fight him is kufr. To fight him is kufr. So these two brothers get in an argument, and the guy say, you fight a Muslim, both of you are kuffar. Can't do that. Not like that. He mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to his companions. He said, "La tarji'u ba'di kuffara, yadribu ba'dukum a'naq ba'd." Don't go back after me as kuffar. Don't return to kufr. He said to his companions, you start to hit one of the necks of each other. You start fighting each other. So people come and they say, look at this hadith. Rasulullah told his companions, don't start fighting, because to fight a Muslim is kufr, and they started fighting, they're kuffar. So an ayat or hadith has kufr attached to it. Whoever does this, whoever does that, whoever does this, he'll be in the hellfire forever. That's what the ayat said. وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمْ خالدا فيها أبدا. Anybody who kills a believer intentionally, he will be in the hellfire forever. You killed a Muslim, you're a kafir, you're in the hellfire forever. No, he killed a believer, but he also got killed in the dunya. The hadith said, Bayaruni, give me the bay'ah. Don't make shirk with Allah. Don't steal. Don't make zina. Don't kill any soul that doesn't deserve to be killed. And don't make up stuff. And you lie about people. Anybody who's able to take care of that, anybody, his reward was Allah. Anyone who falls into any of that, if the Hajj is taking care of him in the dunya, is a purification. If Allah hid him and people didn't find out what he did, he's under the Masjid of Allah. He made zina, he murdered someone, he did this, he did that, he did something. And no one found out. Nobody ratted him out. He's with Allah's situation with Allah. And we say, we want our affair to be with Allah. We don't want it to be with these rough and tough people who they themselves have issues. Everybody here, if you're one of those rough and tough people, you yourself got issues, man. You yourself. And you're going to put that on the Muslims and close the door of ar-Rahmah and make kufr and pass kufr. This is what Imam Ahmed is mentioning in this hadith. In this hadith. You get the Hajj, it's a cleanup for you. Allah didn't let people know about it. Allah forgive you or punishment. It's up to him. Allah Azza wa Jal. But we shouldn't pass judgments of kufr on people easy like that. Now, if these people do things that are clearly kufr, we say it's kufr. This thing is kufr. But you can't make that ta'wil and explanation of people's actions. That's the point today. That's the point. Is that a difficult point? I want to ask you guys. Is it difficult what's being mentioned today? Don't say that other Muslims are kuffar because of mistakes that they're making. And even some crazy Muslims who say crazy stuff, don't be the one who passed that judgment. Be that to somebody else. Because we do have Muslims like that. The Muslims say crazy things today. Some of them are kuffar, some of them are not kuffar. Not for me to put my neck out on a 9 and to make that judgment. You guys got any questions? Any questions, Ikhwan? اتفضل يا أخي.